Labyrinth of Chronos. Dr. Sarah Chen was sitting in the control room at CERN, reviewing the results of the latest experiment. Suddenly, her eyes fell on an anomalous data stream on the screen. "What the hell is this?" she muttered, adjusting her glasses. Just then, the lab's alarms went off. Everyone in the room rushed to the screens in a panic. At the center of the particle accelerator, an anomaly was occurring that defied the laws of physics. "Shut down the accelerator!" shouted Sarah, but it was too late. A bright burst of light engulfed the entire facility. Seconds later, when the light disappeared, those in the control room couldn't believe their eyes. 3 figures appeared in the center of the room, looking human, but definitely not human. With their tall, thin bodies and large golden eyes, they looked like the classic alien depiction. But the luminous patterns covering their bodies and the slight green tint to their skin set them apart. "Greetings, Earthlings," said one of them in a voice that echoed in the minds. "We are the Chronos Guard." Sarah stepped forward with shocked curiosity. Who are you? How did you get here?" One of the aliens approached Sarah. "We are the guardians of time and the universe, and your kind is unwittingly creating a great danger." Hours later, world leaders gathered at the United Nations for an emergency meeting. Sarah had been appointed spokesperson for the aliens. In a shaky voice, she began to relay what she had learned. "Dear leaders, as incredible as it may seem, these beings have revealed to us a very important truth," Sarah said. "Some critical events in human history were actually shaped by the intervention of time-traveling beings." A murmur went up in the hall. Sarah continued. "The rise of Julius Caesar, the beginning of the Renaissance, the Industrial Revolution. These and many others were actually the result of the intervention of time travelers." This statement shook the world to its foundations. History books had to be rewritten, religions and philosophies questioned. Had humanity never been in control of its own destiny? But the real concern of the Chronos Guardians was different. The time travel technology that humanity would develop in the near future was damaging the fabric of the universe. Each time travel created new parallel universes and fragmented reality. World leaders vowed not to develop this technology. But some countries continued to work in secret. The Chronos Guardians left Earth to give humanity another chance. Months later, Sarah is involved in a secret government project. The task, to develop and control time travel technology. "It's too dangerous," Sarah told the project leader. "We could tear the fabric of the universe." The project leader smiled. "Or we could take our destiny into our own hands." The first attempts were unsuccessful. But one night, while Sarah was working in the lab, she felt a vibration in the machine. Suddenly, she found herself in a different world. This world was familiar, but different. There were cars flying through the streets, buildings reaching for the sky. A holographic newspaper headline caught his eye. "Descendants of Alexander the Great land on Mars." As Sarah looked around in shock, someone appeared next to her. It was a woman who looked like her, but older. "Welcome," she said, smiling. "I am the version of you from this world. We have been waiting for you." Sarah learned the history of this world from the alternate person. Alexander the Great had not died. He had expanded his empire and put great emphasis on science. The result was a technological advance that was set back 1,000 years. "What about the Guardians of Chronos?" asked Sarah. "Do they exist in this world?" Alternate Sarah's face turned serious. "Yes, and they are our arch enemy. We believe that humanity should control its own destiny." Sarah soon began traveling to different parallel universes. In each one, history unfolded in different ways. In one, the Roman Empire had never fallen. In another, the Mayans ruled the world. But with each trip, she felt reality crumbling a little more. Timelines were blurring together, universes colliding. One day, he made his most astonishing discovery. He stepped into a universe where humans and Chronos Guardians lived side by side. In this world, the two species had built a common civilization. The Sarah of this universe said to him, We realized that they were not completely right, and neither were we. Time and the universe are too complex to control, but working together, we can understand it. When Sarah returned to her world, she decided to share what she had learned. She gathered world leaders and her secret project team. Time travel, she said, is not a weapon or a tool. It is the universe itself, and we are part of it. In the middle of his speech, there was a burst of light in the room. The Kronos Guard had returned. But this time, they were not alone. They were accompanied by people from different parallel universes. "We followed you, Sarah," said the leader of the guard. "And thanks to you, we have learned something too. Time and the universe is not something we alone must protect. It is something we must all shape together." This moment marked the beginning of a new era for humanity. Time travel technology became a bridge between species in all parallel universes. As people discovered different versions of their own history, they also took on the responsibility of shaping the future. One day, as Sarah looked out of her lab window at the stars, she saw them differently. Each star was a potential timeline, and humanity was ready to find its place in this cosmic web. Time was no longer a straight line, but an ocean of infinite possibilities, and humanity was embarking on a new journey in this ocean. Past, future, and present were intertwined. Sarah knew that this journey would never end, because time doesn't just flow forward. It flowed in all directions, and humanity was now part of it. 5 years after Sarah Chen's discovery, the world had changed beyond recognition. Time travel technology had become part of everyday life. People could visit different time zones and explore alternate pasts and futures. But with this new power came unexpected problems. Time tourists were trying to alter historical events, causing dangerous fluctuations in timelines. The Kronos Guard and their human allies were struggling to cope with the chaos. Sarah was now head of the International Time Agency. One day, she received an urgent call. A young time agent had gone missing in 1492. He was trying to prevent Columbus from discovering America, said the agency's chief of operations. But he disappeared. The timeline started to distort. Sarah sprang into action. She traveled with her team to 1492. They teleported to Columbus's ship in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. It was a stormy night, and the crew was about to mutiny. While searching for the missing agent, Sarah encountered the unexpected: Christopher Columbus himself. "You," Columbus said, a look of recognition in his eyes. "You are the one I saw in my dreams, the one from beyond time." Sarah looked surprised. You know about us?" Columbus smiled. "Of course. Our ancestors told us about you. Time travelers, keepers of history." Sarah was shocked by this revelation. It meant that European explorers also knew about time travel. This was completely changing the known course of history. Columbus offered to help Sarah. Together, they found the missing agent. The young agent had accidentally gotten stuck in an alternate timeline while trying to change history. The agent was rescued, but the timeline was still unstable. Sarah, at great risk, told Columbus the truth. The discovery of America was a critical turning point in human history, and it had to happen. "If this discovery does not happen," Sarah said, "there will be great catastrophes in the future. The cultures of the world will be cut off from each other. Scientific progress will slow down." As Columbus pondered what to do with this knowledge, suddenly the sky darkened. The fabric of time began to tear. Different time zones were colliding with each other. Sarah and her team tried to repair this tear using the time machine, but they were powerless. Just then, the Kronos Guard appeared. "Help us," Sarah pleaded. "Time is collapsing." The Kronos Guardians began to work with the humans, but even this was not enough. The tear in time continued to grow. Columbus stepped forward. "Maybe the solution is for the past and the future to work together," he said. The ship's crew, the Kronos Guard, and agents from the future joined hands. Together, they worked to repair the fabric of time. This unique collaboration restored the balance of the universe. When the tear closed, Sarah turned to Columbus. "Thank you," she said. "You have not only discovered a new world, you have saved time itself." Columbus smiled. "Perhaps it is this dance of past and future that we call destiny, interconnected, shaping each other." When Sarah and her team returned to their own time, they found the world a little different. America had still been discovered, but that discovery was now known as a meeting point of different cultures and times. The International Time Agency reconsidered its policies. It was now their job not only to keep time, but also to strike a balance between past, present, and future. Sitting in New York Harbor one evening, Sarah saw reflections on the water of ships from different times. Columbus's caravel, modern yachts, and hover ships from the future floated side by side. Perhaps, Sarah thought, this is the true nature of time. Instead of flowing in one direction like a river, it's an ocean expanding in all directions. With this in mind, Sarah decided to start a new project, an academy that would bring together people from different times. In this academy, the wisdom of the past, the dynamism of the present, and the vision of the future would merge. Time was no longer just a way to move forward, but a means for humanity to discover its full potential. And Sarah knew that this new adventure had only just begun. Looking up at the sky, she thought that the stars were no longer just objects in space, but a map of time itself. And humanity was ready to make its own way on this infinite map. Perhaps this was the truth beyond time, the eternal dance between past, present, and future. And humanity was both a spectator and a dancer in this dance.